until next year when it's on Discovery and it's trash because Rob Warner's not calling it. And they're only doing the top 30 guys.
This is insane! Danny High is 10 seconds up, and look how composed he is. He is just riding within himself. Feet up! Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this to all you.
What's up? It's time for your very favorite podcast in the entire universe, the Joe Brogan
Experience.
Yeah, the Joe Brogan. Welcome to another exciting episode of Ride the Rebellion, the universe's only zero drop mountain bike podcast. I'm your host, Drew Hall, and with me as always is the current reigning champion of a race that needs a sequel more than anything in the world and CEO of Dale Boyd Sports Management, Dale Boyd.
What's up?
Nothing.
I actually just dusted off that belt the other day and thought, man, hopefully we never have another race.
I know. We've got to do another race, and the freaking video needs to come out, which is totally.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too.
Me. The guy cut it. It turned out pretty good, and then nothing happened. We got backlogged at work. So
well, it'll come out with it'll have a dual part 1, part 2. It'll have both races on it.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be like a DVD. You know what? I'm going to put that shit out on VHS.
Oh, that'd be even sweeter.
On an orange VHS tape just for bug.
For bug.
Yeah.
Man.
If you don't know that callback. Look, these are all, we keep our inside jokes part of the podcast best we can.
And it doesn't stay on the podcast. We'd be in a parking lot getting ready for a group ride. Things pop up.
That's true.
And it's interesting to see who actually listens.
It's very much.
Because some people react and other people are like, huh? I'm like, huh? What do you mean, huh?
Yeah.
Get your ass on the podcast and listen.
Yeah. I mean,
friend.
some people know it for sure. All right. So we'll jump in and do our sponsorship game. Boy, I'm hot micing it today. We'll do our sponsorship game. First and foremost, we got to thank we got to give love to Lucky Shot Coffee. I actually took some with me. I just got back. We'll talk about it a little bit, but I just got back from an epic trip to Chattanooga, and I also rode Coldwater. But I had Lucky Shot with me, took it up there because I didn't know what the Airbnb was going to have. Luckily for me, I grounded ahead of time because I did not have a grinder. And so I had Lucky Shot Coffee at my Airbnb, ready for my rides. It's become almost a tradition for me to wake up and drink that before I go ride now. I just feel like it's good juju, and I had no wrecks. Son. No. So it was bad. And so Lucky Shot has been there. If you would like to try it, if you're local, you can go to Satori Sound. But if not, you can also order it, and Shannon ships it out pretty PDQ. And that you can get that from LuckyShotCoffee.com.
That's right. Look at you. That was the most, well, you said erection. But
yeah, I mean, and Lucky Shot,
well,
you know, and our buddy's wife. I mean,
gotta shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. Yeah, one day we're gonna zero them in. I like shoot your shot.
One day we're gonna get a call. Ring, ring, ring. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, you played my ad on your podcast, and it was terrible, and I'm really offended. I'm sorry, you weren't for us.
Right. Well, if you pay us more money, we'll stop playing it.
That's right. Yeah. For a small fee of $506 million.
Exactly. We're more like a hostage radio service than we are anything
or
else.
one Mega Millions lottery ticket. We will stop.
But we have had confirmed, like Bigfoot style shit here. We've had confirmed sightings from Shannon, from our next sponsor, of people coming in mentioning that they heard it on the podcast.
That's right.
If you don't believe me that it works, our advertising gimmicks work because we don't just say ads. We gibber on for a while, and
we are leaders in the Mobile mountain bike community.
Oh my God. Even that guy thinks so.
Yeah, wow.
Kind of weird neighbor.
Every time I think he is actually our real guest, because every time we record, he creeps by the window like the signs.
Oh yeah.
The signs alien.
He's totally the signs alien.
He was just like, ooh. If you guys saw it, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. One day we'll live stream it here.
And then you'll fall in love with us even more.
Yeah, that's right. So shout out to Run and Try, our second sponsor, and Aaron is at some point going to be on the show, but we think he was having too much fun to make it this week.
He was temporarily indisposed this weekend.
Right. with a 12 pack. And so, just kidding, or more. No, Aaron's fantastic. And if you guys haven't been to Run and Try, again, I bought another set of shoes from them recently to go on my trip up to Chattanooga. I just wanted some other shoes for up that way. And so I bought another set, and then my wife got fitted, and it actually helped her plantar fasciitis or whatever the hell she has. So just doing that process of doing that helps her, which means, you know, if you're less impact on your knees, if you don't consider the shoes you're wearing not on the bike as important as the shoes you wear on the bike, you kind of got to think about both.
Yeah, and again, like we always say, even if you don't ride, don't run, don't walk, maybe if you walk, whatever, if you want shoes for work, he has those too that are comfortable, super comfortable.
Yep.
And if you're at a 2 p.m. in the middle of the day at work and you're struggling, he's got goos.
That's right.
He's got goos that will pick you up.
He's got goos for use.
He's got goos for use.
So if you haven't had a chance, head over there. It's store in Mobile. I don't think you can buy online.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But if you hit him up, he'll probably ship it to you.
Yeah.
Actually, I know he will.
There you go.
So if you're from out of town and there's a pair of shoes that you really want and you already know what they are, hit him up. He'll ship them to you.
Yeah, he's straight solid that way. And good to go.
And he's my new neighbor soon.
Oh, really?
He bought a house right behind me.
Oh, look at him.
We're trying to figure out how we can install a bank style
oh my God,
like tube so we can send things back and forth to each other. My wife was like, "You guys are ridiculous." I was like, "Oh, you're ridiculous until you need sugar."
Yeah.
I hit Aaron up. "Hey, sugar?" He's
and
like,
he just sends a beer.
Shoots it. Yeah, he sends a beer.
He only sends beers.
Yeah.
It only fit beer cans. That's the only way it works. Or I guess a soda pop, but whatever.
Through the fireplace to fireplace.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
It'd be awesome.
That's just wicked. But how will Santa get in there? He comes through the tube, kids.
Test tube babies.
I don't even know. All right, so if you have a chance. Oh, so I have a segment that will drop on the channel, on our YouTube channel. We had a bunch of crap go up, but I have a segment that I courteously or whatever. I basically called Dirt Coast out on it because some of the things that I've learned from Dirt Coaster Academy. If you haven't been to the website to check it out, you should. But anyway, point is, this video literally shows, I can show the ride and then I go back over the trail of what I hit because it was some gnarly stuff, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But I'm going to drop that video at some point. But if you haven't been over to dirtcoasteracademy.com to see, it's a great coaching scenario, teaching thing. Dale's been through it. I've learned a lot from it. And I think it's very beneficial for riders of any age. Doesn't matter how long you've been in the game. You'll learn something from it.
They'll be here in Mobile next weekend.
That's right. They're going to be here.
August 13th.
I think they sold out too.
I think they did.
2 weekends, right?
Whatever. Next weekend.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Next weekend. I don't know.
But so, yeah, and we'll be there too.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to come hang out, if you're not taking the class, we're going to go do a little mini group ride during their class and then hang out after.
That's perfect.
So it's a Saturday afternoon, I think.
They're at South again.
Yep, at South.
At USA Trailhead. There we go. And then, of course, I didn't take any of this with me because it wouldn't have kept, but there's always the Clean Eats, Uncle Bobby over at Clean Eats, and you should go in and be like, listen, Uncle Bobby, I want the Uncle Bobby discount. I don't know what that means. You might get nothing. He might charge you more. But if you at least go in and say you heard about us on the podcast, I'm sure he'll give you some kind of discount.
It wouldn't be good if you walk in and say, hey, I want the Ricky Bobby shake and bake, my brother.
He'd probably laugh. He's a funny guy. Depending on how annoyed he might be with life. Anyway, go in and check out Clean Eats if you haven't. The thing that I will take away from that is, fine, food is what it is. However, they have the largest amount of energy drinks, the biggest variety of energy drinks. They certainly have
a lot of bangs in there.
They have the most variety of bangs in the city of Mobile.
That's right.
They also have the best selection of Black Rifle coffee stuff, like as far as like the singles and all that stuff. So they have a ton of energy drinks. That's where I first had Uptime. You ever had Uptime?
No, I know.
It's actually pretty good. It works pretty well. Anyway, if you have a chance, go in there and check that stuff out. You can get something to eat while you're there. If you're starving, get I can't remember what it is. It's this massive burrito. Just remember
pretty good, actually.
What goes in comes out. And when it's clean food,
it's very clean.
It's very elegant.
I know that one time I went in there and I bought a bunch of bangs from there, and it was like I had a whole meal of just bangs.
That's good.
I almost had a heart attack.
Well, you maybe had too many.
I had way too many.
I do that.
Bang is not a sponsor, so we can destroy them.
Yeah. But we would take them as a sponsor, and Dale will drink them until he has cocaine effects.
It was breathing issues, actually, what I had from
that is not good.
No, it was serious. It was John and I discussed. I couldn't take deep breaths in the middle of rides or runs. Like literally, I would start coughing, and I was like, "Dude, I don't know what's." And this is pre-COVID, way before COVID, And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was drinking like a bang or two a day at the time.
Wow.
I stopped drinking them, went away. It was crazy. My wife's respiratory, so I asked her, and she's like, I don't know. I hope you die. So that was her diagnosis.
Oh my God.
She gets a lot of money if I die. So I'm worth more money dead than alive, for sure.
Dale Boys, sports management.
Right.
All of our athletes are worth more dead than alive.
That's true.
Dale Boys, sports management. All right, so it's been an interesting week in for us in mountain biking. I went out of town. I'll talk a little bit about that stuff, but I also thought I don't know how many people watch, the UCI stuff, but it was insane because it was here in the States.
I did watch. I watched the cross country and I watched the downhill race. I watched
cross
both.
country is nuts.
Oh, dude, it was insane. But just preface this, I'm going to interview you about your ride.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
that should be that way.
So, but the UCI stuff, the XC race was gnarly. Like my wife even stayed up,
dude.
So
that's rough.
We were watching. Yeah, Nino didn't race, wrecked in the short track race, but we won't bore you with all the technical names and stuff because I only know like two of them. I'm probably just going to say the American.
Kind of like hockey players. How many hockey players? Well, wait. You're a Yankee. You might know a few more than me.
No, I don't know.
I know Mario Lemieux. Is that a guy?
Yeah, I think. And Wayne Gretzky, the great one.
And Wayne Gretzky.
So Nino didn't race. It opened up the door for our American fellow to. I don't even know his name, so that shows how much. But he led for a long time, gets a flat tire, and then.
Oh wow!
Did you watch it?
No, I just saw highlights.
It was so muddy, like they couldn't even grip. Like some dudes had to run up hills. The mud. It was on Sunday, so it was
after all that rain.
Yes, it was so, and it was raining. It was really foggy. So he's leading a lot of the race, leading forever, and then gets a flat tire. They change his flat in 30 seconds, back tire. Change it. He's 30 seconds back from the leader. He drops down to like 11th or 10th. Fights his way all the way back. Takes the lead over again, which is insane because that means you're going. He did 21 seconds faster than the lead group.
Unreal.
Catches them all, passes everybody. He's leading until the last lap, and then a guy that no one had talked about the whole race comes out of nowhere, passes everybody, and wins.
His first ever. Sitting on his gas.
His first ever UCI.
Unreal. See, that's amazing because I was really hoping that. Who is it? There's a downhill guy that was their first ever, and they were in the hot seat for a long time. Oh, Bernard Kerr.
Oh, that was yeah.
He's my jam, dude. I like.
Well, he's a hardline guy. He's one of us.
Right now, he destroys it on hardline. Like like that's it. But I mean, he literally was in the hot seat. He had one of the great, and of course,
0.4.
He's 0.4 appearing yet again.
Dude, he's such a badass. Though.
He's just such a prick, though.
He is. Like you can even tell at the end of the race, but. I mean, the other thing was he wasn't supposed to race this weekend.
I know.
Like he was sick. They didn't want him to. Did you see an interview? He said, I've been laying in my bed playing Sudoku for a weekend, not even around anybody. I was like, wait a minute, who plays Sudoku anymore?
Right.
Like you're that but I think that when you're that intense of a guy and like that intense of an athlete, the only way to decompress is to play stuff like that. And
it's gotta
like,
be.
It is. It's the only way to sit back and be like, I can let my mind go for this whatever,
right? And
I don't have to be intense, and that's the way they relax. I think a lot of great athletes that are really, really good off the field or off the track or they're laid back and calm and they're not hyper. They're very like even keel just because that's how you have to be almost.
There's got to be. I mean, some of those guys, like some of that, that's why Bernard is interesting to get in that spot because he's not. He's just like making YouTube videos and screwing around. I mean, I'm sure he's a very serious athlete, but I get crushed every time when I watch Dak. Dakota just get up there. I mean, I love that dude, and I don't know if it's luck or choke or both.
I think he just hits
so
hard.
God, he just puts. I mean, he created a line that no one had seen, and it was the fastest line.
Right.
He was going to do it, and then in just luck. Things go south on that guy.
Yeah, it'll come together for him though. He's young.
I know. That's just why I root for him, and he's close. I mean, he's out of Knoxville now, so
yeah. We have to the 5 Americans that we have to cheer for him.
Yeah, big time. I mean, Aaron Gwynn's got a ton of wins. I mean, he's second most, I think.
Yeah,
next behind.
And Greg Menard, he's our age and he's still doing work.
Dude.
Like he is doing top 10 finishes every week. I think it's like understated how badass that is.
Yeah, he's ridiculously
good.
I
mean, I go out against a 22-year-old kid and I'm like, well, bullshit, there's age groups. You're not my age group, you know?
No, for sure.
And he's not saying that. He's like, no, look, I'm as fast as you. And Greg Menard's not little like them. He's a big dude.
He's a real big dude. He's like your size.
I know. It's amazing.
You're like a giant.
The rest of those guys are midgets.
A lot of those guys are pretty small. Let's be honest.
Like Nico's super small, I think.
Yeah, he's pretty. No, those are like pocket guys, and you can put them in your pocket, throw them out, and you like
that's right.
Really send it. You just toss them down the way. Did you watch any of the women's stuff at all? Don't give me a look. I'm not
anti-women's. I just look
this
at it.
This is the only
like,
time you can watch it, like because you don't have to sleep in all the whole damn season.
That is true. I just don't. I watch it on replay anyway, but the women, like, every time I watch it, I know they're better than me, and I know that I'll never be able to compete anything on their level. But the speed after watching the guys, like, they just don't go fast.
No, but I mean, some of the stuff is the thing that's interesting to me about the women's that I go back and watch is, and I'm not gonna lie, I pulled it up because I don't know the exact point score, is like Camille Blanche or Camille, whatever. There's her and then Nina Hoffman. So I'm a big Nina Hoffman fan. Like, I think she's a great rider, and so I enjoy watching her ride. So there's a little war between them, and there's like this Miriam Nicole girl. So there's like these three women that are just back and forth because their spread is actually close. It's 200, 160, 140. So like there's actual competition that side. Like if we pull it and you look at the men's side of things, and Omri Piran's so far ahead, he can skip a race entirely and still win the entire thing.
But the thing about it is, though, the men's, I feel like anybody in the top 50 could win.
Yeah.
Every week. Maybe not 50, maybe 30, 35.
No, it's a little more dominant in the women. Like, it's going to be one of those three that pulls it off. I mean, that's what it seems to be.
There's a group of 5 to 10 guys in the men's that's like, they're a different level. They're riding.
Oh, there's some.
Like you get to the top 10 qualifiers usually, and it's like, wait, they're taking lines that no one saw yet today, and it's like they're so much smoother and faster, and I think it comes down to training more than anything.
Yeah,
I mean, and being able to ride your bike, I guess.
Let me get the actual standing thing, because it's kind of an interesting. If you're not watching this stuff, you don't have to be into downhill. You can watch the cross country. It's just the downhill literally is so exciting because every single moment it could change. Like last week, there was a guy named Zwar who's not really high ranking.
No, he didn't do anything this week.
And he right. But last week he sat in that seat for the longest out of anyone. And it's just a matter of like, they're gonna eventually, when it gets to the big qualifiers, it's gonna go crazy. But I don't know. It's just to me, it's just fascinatingly fun to watch. Let me pull up the standings. Sorry.
Until next year when it's on Discovery and it's trash because Rob Warner's not calling it, and they're only doing the top 30 guys.
Now I think I saw what's his name, Elliot.
Yeah, Elliot Jackson.
So I was one of my rides. You can ask about it later, but one of the rides, there's a dude that came by that looked exactly like him, and I turned to my buddy, Mr. Pickles, that was with me. I was like, "Dude, that's Elliot!" And so I yelled out, "Elliot!" like ET style. The dude turned around. So if I were them, I would not ride in that area. I would go to Chattanooga or Knoxville or somewhere and ride where it wasn't. You could ride, like if they wanted to. And this would have been on Wednesday, so maybe there was time for him. I don't know. Maybe it's just me and the dude's freaking out because some crazy
I think
guy.
If Discovery has him, I think he'll be okay. But Rob Warner just has the voice. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll clarify this. Hoffman is not where she was. I was looking at the individual. She came in third for that. But Camille Blanche and Miriam Nicole have a race going on 200 points. So every race, it's going to flop. Like it could change pretty drastically. And then Hoffman is who is my favorite, but she's all the way in fifth. So just to clarify, I didn't want to put out there false numbers for the internet to lose your shizzle on.
I barely know what size wheels I have about numbers.
Speaking of that, I'm talking about being tired. And then in the men's, it's just not even. Omri Piran has 1,180 points, and the closest person has 758.
Who is it, Finn?
No, it's Vergier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Finn Isles is now third.
Oh, yeah, Vergier's been on the podium the last 4
He's been
races.
sneaking in.
Yeah,
he's just been sneaking in. He gets a lot of points from that. And
He's
Danny
bad
Hart's
at
in the
that.
top
He's
5. I didn't
Bad
realize
at
Danny was doing so well. Anyway, Matt Walker's dropped down because, Matt
He broke
won.
his kneecap this weekend.
Poor guy. He was doing well. Just finishing. Anyway, Greg Manier's top 10, by the way. Current standings.
Yeah.
40 years old. Dude's
Beast
a monster.
mode.
And Bernard Kerr's doing pretty good. He's top 10 too. It's a good year for him. Makes me excited. All right, so
Well,
if
that's
you guys
the most mountain bike keen podcast we've ever done.
Yeah, it is. Look, I can't help it though. I love that.
I do. I love it.
I get excited the week ahead of it. I love watching the videos that come out, like the track walk. When I saw this one was muddy, I think the hype around it is super fun.
I have to like my social media feeds. I have to like scroll fast.
Yeah.
On Saturdays and Sundays when it's on because I want to watch it and not know.
Same here.
Like I'll see it pop up. I'm like, no. And then like I'll hear my friends and I'll be like, la la la. Like Jakey Poo did it at Bug Cheeto. Barry started talking about it. He walked away. He's like, shut up, Barry, shut up. Like he's like, I'm gonna watch it later.
I do it to him all the time. I like to harass him about it because he won't watch early. I get up early.
No, he watches it Sunday nights, I think.
Yeah, see, I love to watch it live. So I will literally.
I don't watch it live.
I'll get up at 6 a.m. I love it. This time it was at 12 or 1:45.
Well, yeah, whatever.
It was late. I was on Eastern time, but it was like it was nice. It was like, hey, convenient, middle of the day, drink a couple beers instead of a coffee.
Right.
It was good shit.
So let's get back to you just got back in town from sweet Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Which I love Chattanooga. I was there this year too. I didn't take my bike, but I was there.
One of my favorite cities.
So on your way there though, you hit Coldwater, right?
First time.
And I haven't been to Coldwater yet either. We'll hit that maybe one day. I'll get kidnapped and somebody will take me there.
Oh, we're going to take you up there, but I'm going to take you up there when it's not this hot.
You're right. I don't
like I'll literally drag you up. We can drive up, ride, spend the night, drive home the next day, like maybe hit up Standing Boy or something.
There's tons of places we can hit.
It's completely worth it just because you got to experience it.
Right. So we talked about it off air. Like I saw a lot of the stuff I saw. And if you haven't yet, check out our YouTube channel. Everything that he rode is on there, I think. Most everything.
No, yeah, not all the trails. So what I did do, which I thought was fun, is I didn't give you the climb up.
Yeah, which is fair. Thank you.
God, Coldwater's rough.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that in a minute. But I did include the full downhill ride,
right?
Including when Todd and I stopped. Like that's the first time riding that. So we're stopping because I don't know where that drop goes. Like I'm not going to send that to. I mean, I sent a lot of stuff blind, and I was jumping off side rocks. Like there's like kickers to the left and right. But you can watch the entire ride. It's 30 minutes long. Because we did stop.
It's 3 miles downhill, right?
3.5, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so let's just start at Coldwater.
Yep.
When you got there, like, let's just say, I want the little, like, what's your feeling when you're in the parking lot? Like, you can kind of get the first impression, you know, like, how does it, like, does this look like I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm excited?
So it's a nice layout, but the hills going up, when literally driving a lot, you're like, oh my God, we're like, it's not that it's a long way up because you can see the road below. It's that it's so damn steep.
Yeah.
It's so steep. I mean, the grade is like aggressive. And so you're like, oh my God, where are we going? So we get up to the top. It's a nice layout. They don't have, I'm not knocking it. They don't have like the best, they have a changing facility and then a porta potty. So it's kind of like UWF is what it reminds me of.
They don't even have a porta potty.
They don't even have that. Yeah. But it's not like Dothan that's kind of, like their Forever Wild stuff is pretty, it's legit. So you get up into that spot and you get up there and you can't tell anything in that part. Like there's no anticipation's low in terms of what it is. So we started getting kitted up and it felt pretty good. Like we were both like, hey, it's not super hot now. Unfortunately, we didn't get there till like noon, 11:30. So we were going to hit the hottest part of the day, but it didn't feel that bad. So we're getting kitted up. And then you start looking at the maps and there's like one way in to get to this stuff. And there's some downhill. So they actually have, I didn't know this, they have 2 gravity lines. They have a flow line that has jumps that are not as apparent, right? Because it's a green. And then they have a blue flow line where there's beautiful lips on stuff. And we rode those after. And there's a huge mistake involved in that too. But so yeah, it's just kind of like the air up there is, and the mentality and the space and the vibe is very much like, you know, because you know what Bomb Dog is and you know where your brain is. So there's an excitement pre-parking lot.
Right.
But once you get into the woods, it's super fun for a portion. And it's a big fuck you.
Yeah.
Because you're riding, having a good time and it's flowy and there's jumps and you're just, I mean, I was like, this is fantastic. I'm pushing hard and having a great time until you have like a 2.5 mile climb.
Right.
And life sucks.
Yeah, you got to pay the tax man, right?
So I've kind of come up with it. Started showing up in the videos.
Yeah, the credit card trails.
So there's cash up front and credit card trails. So the worst part about Coldwater is it's cash up front and then they change the billing on you and suddenly you have a huge credit you got to pay.
Oh God.
right? And so all of a sudden, or I'm sorry, it's credit up front and then becomes cash. So you're like, dude, this is great. I don't have to do anything. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, we want our bill right now. It's like an American Express. They want to get paid in 30 days,
That's
right? So then all of a sudden you go from this flow track to like brutal climbs, and Todd and I both, and Todd's on his e-bike and he's winded. I mean, it's monster. And it wasn't just the heat. Those are legitly hard climbs for guys from flatlands. Yeah, it's brutal. So I think we ended up climbing like, by the time you're done, it's like 1,200 feet or something.
How many miles did you guys ride?
9.5 total.
Yeah,
so.
But a lot's down, right?
Yeah, but
it's hard down. It's not just sit down and go down.
That is.
So we don't, for those that don't know, we have 0 rocks here.
Right.
Like our rocks is sand.
Yep.
Like we have no rocks. We have roots and sand.
Yep.
That's pretty much our soil. So when
the occasional gravel, but it's big gravel. It's not like small that little shale gravel. We don't have any.
So when we go places and we see rocks, our mind immediately is like, oh gosh, like what are we gonna do? Do we hit our brakes?
Mm-hmm.
Is it gonna mess my frame up? Like whatever it is. But the real thing you do when you see rocks is just hammer them, right?
Yep.
Like so, did you come upon like you're just bombing down, bomb dog, and there's like a little mini rock garden or some rocks, and you're just like. Hold on and hope and pray. Oh yeah, no, I mean it's literally so Bomb Dog ends up setting the cadence for the entire adventure, and I didn't realize what it was going to do. It was like, so I took part of the reason I took the vacation is because I was so burned out. Like I work pretty hard, and I have not had any time off. We've talked about it a little bit on this, but I was like burned out. But to suddenly, I ride bikes for my brain in some ways because I'm focused. Mm-hmm.
But even at the Reb, I'm 90% focused, right? There's days I go 100 and you can feel it, but I can still check out. I've ridden that enough. Up there, you're 110% all the time. You can't turn it off.
It's like riding at night during the day.
It's exactly what it is.
You're just hyper-focused on every small thing.
And so these rock gardens would come up, and I mean, by the time you recognize where because you're scanning ahead, but that doesn't show you the gaps that you have to navigate. So that's the crazy part. There was like toothy gaps that you're just pushing through. Or what I learned was off to the side, there'd be a kicker, there's a little off-camber kicker. Mm-hmm. And if you hit those, you would clear those. So after a while, I started just jumping the rock gaps because I noticed Todd would plow through them if he was towing me. And I would be like, woohoo, I'm going to go out this side. And you can see some of that in the video where it was, but there's one specific section that I had no idea it was not as scary as something else I ran into later, but like getting towards it, there's a trail called Rock Chute. You have to climb it to get there. Mm-hmm. You can bypass one piece. You can't bypass the other. It literally narrows like this. I don't even know if I have my GoPro on. I might have had it on. If I do, I'll try and post a clip as maybe short. It literally narrows, and it is body height rock on one side and pointers like sticking up. So if you fall, you want to fall left into that rock. If you fall right, you're hurt.
Right. And
I had no idea. I blind sent it, and you get into it, and it's super steep. There's no stopping. Even braking, you're just sliding off the rocks. It was horrifically scary, but it was fun. When you're done, you go back and look at it, and you're like, holy shit, I'll never ride that again if I don't have to. But
yeah, so because of where we were at, I don't get to ride that stuff very often. And I did a race in Georgia last year.
Yep.
That had similar rock. I mean, the mountains are probably similar. Yep. And it's a long downhill. We're bombing down. And Ryan Turner told me, hey, once you get to this spot that looks like the hand of God just took a big scoop out, he's like, just go straight through it. And I'm like, okay. I mean, where at? And he's like, it's on the race. You'll find it.
Right.
And this is a 40-mile race, so with a bunch of downhill. So we're doing that. We're flying down. I'm by myself, flying down. I see all these caution signs everywhere, like caution, caution, caution. Both sides of the big gully have like trails where people have gone around it. And I was like, this has to be it, right? Like, fine. I just close my eyes and like you go flying off this rocky embankment down into this gorge. And I was like, oh my, and I'm going so fast. Like you can't, if I hit my brakes, I would have died anyways. So like, I got through it somehow only because I knew whatever, just like you're saying, you stopped and looked. So like me, I just bombed through it because I'm in the middle of a race too. I get done and like you catch your breath and you don't realize that you're as out of breath or more from that than you are pedaling uphill sometimes. Like the pain in your legs just isn't there.
Oh yeah.
Your heart rate's the same. So I remember like getting done and being like, my other friends that were in the race, I'm like, I hope they are okay. Like I seriously was like concerned because they heard Ryan tell us the same thing. And like, I just didn't know if they would be able to handle what I just did. Like I'm pretty confident with my skills. Like I was okay, but I was worried that somebody else might take that advice and you could seriously get impaled or worse. It's flying down through the rocky gorges like that.
I'm surprised I haven't heard more stories about, I mean, maybe there are injuries on Bomb Dog or other pieces like that, just because it is so aggressive, like you're saying. And even then, the times I brake, you can see some of it. I'm braking. There's no traction. It's loose gravel. So now you're just sliding. So, the roots aren't an issue. We're used to that. Like roots are like, welcome. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, root. It's going to be a little slippy. I got this, right? But then you just never know what you're going to hit when you're riding it for the first time. And you could go watch that video 100 times over and it's still not going to prepare you.
Yeah, videos never do it justice.
No, that's why I was like, you know what? Every other video I've ever seen is like edited. I'm going to show the whole thing as much as I can, minus the climb out. And let's just see what it does. So at least then when I wanted to go do some kind of recon, these guys stopped up here. Oh, maybe I recognize where that would be. But Jesus.
But you know what I think is cool is we see a lot of us Mobilians like go to other places and race or go to other areas like Toby and Kevin Black and those guys went to North Carolina and win an enduro race. So it's like these are guys that are local guys or, our friends go to Bethel or go to other places and win cross-country races. It's like maybe our rooty, sandy stuff has trained us to be better riders, and we just don't realize it, that we don't have the elevation, obviously, but we can technically ride bikes maybe better or as good as anyone else just because of our tight, technical, rooty, everything. South to us, we can close our eyes and ride, but if you do it at pace, like and fast, you have to be able to handle a bike to do it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And it makes, like, when you go to other places, like, I hear people talking about, there's roots or there's rocks. And it's like, well, yeah, it's kind of straight, though, right? You don't have to turn. So
you mean you're not doing all these, like, loop-de-loops?
Right, So I think that maybe we take, yes, it is flat, but maybe we take a little bit of it for granted in the technical side of it. Like, people are always like, we need more features, we need more tech. And it's like, go faster. And that'll give you the features of the tech that you're looking for. Hey,
those bridges down, like if you've ridden there, like the MT stuff that got fixed or whatever, if you hit that wrong. Yeah. So I rode it with, we rode it reverse one day during a ride, Tuesday night ride. The day I was shooting all those footage, and I came down off of that thing, and I have not ridden down that way very much. Well, the gravel at the end of the bridge is loose. Right. And I was like, man, I'm hauling ass. I'm just going to tap my brakes. I did, and I am sliding towards to fall off into a creek. Right. And that would have been a pretty bad, that would have been a danger hurt. That would have been
a heroin needle wreck.
Yeah, because I had a huge-ass camera on my back, too, so it would have been bad. So it's all of it is there to give us the experience to do it. I will say that one major thing about going downhill versus anything else is I feel like it's a skill set where you're scanning ahead a little bit faster.
Right.
And you're processing quicker. That's the only thing that we miss here is that I feel like sometimes when I see our friends wreck on some of that stuff, it's because they're not having to process 10 extra feet or 10 yards ahead of themselves. They're processing, like there's like a range in which you have to process fast.
Right. Very
or
fast.
React. So that's where like your skill set and like, so even mine, I felt my confidence. So what I was saying by that being like the pace setters, you go ride that and you go ride other stuff, your confidence is way up because you just smashed that. Even though I stopped on the way down, I opened up. I was off the brakes on a lot of that stuff. And it was like full send, go for it.
And I think that's what people have to realize, like, go fast.
Yeah.
Like you're probably going to stand up or stay upright better than if you go slow. Because then if you slow down, then it gives those rocks a chance to grab you.
That's true.
Like those rocks
getting into that dadgum.
It's so scary though.
You ride in that position for that long, and I thought I knew what tired. Like pedaling up was tiring, but riding down, dude, you are hurting. Like your body is like, this is not. I mean, I do a lot of training. I do weights in that, but it still doesn't prepare you.
Yeah. So Coldwater was awesome. We know that, and the video showed it was pretty badass.
Right.
But let's just go to Tennessee now. So we're in Tennessee now.
Right.
And the other trails are cool, but you got to ride Lula Lakes, right?
Right.
And Lula Lakes is a land trust, so it's not always open. Well,
nope.
Go ahead and tell every other weekend.
Yeah. So 2 weekends a month. And I don't know if it's every other, but it's at least 2 weekends a month. And you have to buy a ticket and they sell out. So it's limited. It's extremely limited.
So this is kind of an exclusive first-hand opinion, right?
Because there's no video showing any of the trails at Lula Lakes.
Right, which is I mean, now there is.
Yeah.
But
Well, we're getting a lot of views for that.
so when you go there, we'll talk about that because the other trails, like there is reviews of, and there's things like that.
Yeah.
But there's stuff. So the single track looks awesome because it looks like it's hand cut.
It's all hand
Like
cut.
it's just rugged.
It's the Reb.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought was awesome, and you could talk about this because you were there, but the views that you got when you were there, like around every corner, there's something else that's even more incredible and kind of feels like a paradise to some point.
Yeah, so it's a lot of double track for up and down
Right.
to connect. There's actually a whole section of trails that you use a CCT connector to get to, and those are called the Moonshine Trails. And from my understanding, that is if we go back, we get 2 cars and we session, we drive up to the top, we leave the car, and we literally just take this Moonshine Trail. From my understanding, it is the most insanely fun trail. It's just brutal. It's flowy at parts, technical rocks, all that stuff. That's all part of that same system. However, those trails you can access all the time. It's kind of tricky to get to the Lula Lake stuff all the time. So you have to have the permit to park in and stuff. So this section of Handcut, you've got double track up to it. And as you're climbing up, you're along a bluff and you're seeing stuff like you can see it in the video. I kept stopping because I was like, this is beautiful.
Right.
And every time I stopped, it just got more and more, but it's technical, slow, steep rock climb. And so again, you've got to know how to do body positioning and get through it.
Right.
And as you do that, you make your way up to the top, and then it's just beautiful bluff. You're sitting on top of, you look out, and you're like, my God, like there's a crazy downhill you can take.
Right.
Though you got to watch for pedestrians. It's fast. It's double track. It's terrifying. I found it scarier when I was good.
So some of the most terrifying downhill I've ever ridden is double track.
Yeah.
Like it seems like it's more, I mean, the car's rutted out more, and I think that might be it. But I agree. When I was watching that, I told you off air that I got PTSD from Skyway of like some of that nasty, gnarly double track that's like, oh my God, please don't, I don't want to see that again, you know, because we had a 5-mile downhill in Skyway that's a double track downhill that is rutted out with water.
And it's just super loose.
Yeah, all loose. So you never know what's going to hold.
Because there's nothing holding the sides.
That's right.
And so I don't like double track. I'm a single track guy. Like, 1.5 track if you're looking at flow trails. Like, and it was an interesting juxtaposition to have, like, again, we won't talk about all the other stuff at Enterprise, but like Enterprise and these other ones are straight flow trails. I mean, they're just beautiful. They're fun. They're flowy. They're good, like, pardon the expression. They're fun and fast, but they're good relaxing trails compared to. So you go up there and you hit the hand cut stuff. And one of them, the big one that I showcased was Jedi, and they call it that. I was like, Dale would have to like.
I'd be like Googling.
I'd make a reference.
Yeah.
But that trail is hand cut, and you're supposed to. The guide at the bottom was like, "Hey, send it this way. It's a little bit faster." I did ride it both ways just so I could experience it. I didn't bother to I put the fun one in.
Yeah, don't put the uphill one.
The uphill one. So it's fun, but what was mind blowing to me was that Jedi trail was exactly what we ride at the Reb.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The only thing missing for us is the fact that we didn't have the bluff, right? But the trail quality was the same, and that made me feel good as builders. Here's a place that people want to go ride all the time. All the mountain bike community supports it up there. It's a big deal. But that trail was cut exactly like what we do.
Right.
100%. They even scalp it.
Yeah.
Like it's all the way down. And the ground there was very similar. It's obviously a little bit better quality dirt, but it was very similar. And it drains very quickly too. But then when you finish that stuff and you go look at the waterfalls and you see this, it doesn't matter what you've done because the majesty of those two bodies of water, it'll blow you away. Like there's nothing else you've ever seen. The only downside is they don't let you swim. Like if I would have been able to jump in, that would have been amazing. But you get to, it is hands down, you're riding and then seeing things that you don't get to see it doesn't matter how much you've done it. It's beautiful every time. And the amount of water that they've captured from rainfall affects the falls. We were fortunate enough that there was enough water. It was a heavy drip, and sometimes it's not so much. It was gorgeous though. Absolutely gorgeous at every turn.
That's awesome. I think that being able to experience things like that in cities like Chattanooga that maybe even a lot of local people don't get to do because their weekends don't match up, you know?
That's right.
I mean, it's a hard place to get into. It's almost like the Reb to some extent.
It's exactly what talking to them, they were they were unapologetic about it. Like they're trying to protect it because they think it's so, and it is so beautiful. But there's 15 more miles coming in.
Oh, really? So they're still developing further. Do they plan on opening more?
They're going to find a way to make it publicly accessible for mountain bikers. So what's really interesting is you could go look at the falls and stuff. You could go do that by trail, right? I guess you could hike in too, but you're talking about a 15-mile hike. Like they're going to make it where you have to work your way to get there.
I got you.
So as riders, we'd have that chance. I think they're going to make it that way. I'm not 100% certain where it is. She didn't say, but there's a piece of trail in there, the bottom half called South, whatever it was, I can't remember, South Trail or whatever it is. That was shorter than Bomb Dog, 100 times scarier. It's actually the scariest thing I've ever ridden because it's rocks with gaps in them where you don't see what's on the other side. And most of the time you'd come off a rock and there'd be a pointer that if you hit, you're gone. But then right behind that pointer, there'd be a raised root that's slick as snot. So it was rocks and roots, hand-cut single track that was extremely narrow. So it was all of my focus and energy. And you can see it, like I posted in there, like I finished the ride and I don't know if I put the whole clip. I jump off my bike and I'm just like shaking because it was like, holy shit. Yeah. And it ends in a crazy berm. There's no way you're going to finish it, at least with my skill level. But I went back, and that's the spot I was referring to earlier. Like anything I ever learned from bike body position, there's 100%. You're downhill, you're riding blind. All that matters is bike body position because you are navigating some of the scariest, craziest. There's no jumps. There's no way to avoid it. You're in it.
Yeah, and that place it wasn't like a jump line or anything like that. So it was like a hardcore cross country trail, right?
So what I've been told is it's like what you ride in Pisgah. It's like a mix of that with Chattanooga's trail system. So they have, I think they have more rock than root, and so it's like it was intense. There's awesome. The video I'm going to drop eventually. I'm going to show that section again, and then I took the GoPro low and I show you kind of from the wheels perspective, so you can understand hopefully just a portion of like this is insane.
Right.
What you're navigating through gaps are like 4 inches wide, so you're on 2-inch tires. You have a margin of error of 1 inch on either. I mean, it was nuts. It was crazy.
I'm used to having 1-inch margins.
Hey. But that kind of stuff, like having that kind of opportunity to go up there and ride that is what is the reason why I love biking. This is the reason why I love our group. I love the Reb. I love this podcast. Just having that sort of build out up there is very reminiscent. They have the community that I think we want.
Right.
We want to be a part of. It's not about send it, bro. It's literally just encouragement and let's ride.
And we can segue into this. Like, I mean, I'm jealous of your trip, so I'm kind of done talking about it.
You just got to go next time.
Yeah, I'll just go.
We figured out we had a family planned. I mean, there was a whole while I was doing Lula Lakes, they went down to the water.
They go to the aquarium, or they went to
they went in and they hiked down all the way to the lake, and then they hung out. So like that's the trick, right? Is finding a way of making it where it's family friendly, so you can go. And then other days I went and rode other spots with Mr. Pickles, my buddy Jim. When we rode other spots, like they would go to they went to the zoo or they went to the kids museum, stuff that I don't want to.
No, we don't want to do that. Yeah. But I get it. But I think like you said about the community, like we are building towards something like that. Right. Like I feel like we don't have as many people, obviously. Right. But our community is growing stronger and everybody has the same type of missions that, like I don't care if you ride a Trek 800 from 99. Right. But if what you enjoy is just riding these local little trails and not the Reb stuff, you don't want to ride the Reb, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Right. Like, I'm cool with it. Sometimes there's days I don't want to ride the Reb or you don't want to ride the Reb.
That's 100%. And
having the ability to be inclusive enough to like every other type of rider is what I think we've tried to do. Like, my type of riding isn't for everyone. Your type of riding isn't for everyone. Right. But maybe we like every type of riding, like I'm not going to discriminate towards one person or the other.
Oh no, there's a part of me that wants another bike.
Oh, I want every bike, not just one.
No. I mean, I'm at the point of like, I want a less slacky, cause I had to climb all this shit on that bike and it kicked my ass.
Well, I already have a plan for my next bike, but I'll be grounded if I.
Are you looking at that Trek?
No. Nothing like that.
You're not going to e-bike anything?
No, I don't think I'm ready for an e-bike yet.
I don't know, man.
But John built a long travel hardtail.
Oh,
And
snap.
I think that's I think at the Reb, a long travel hardtail would be freaking awesome.
So in a lot of the flow stuff up there, like what you see is I like down here we hardly see hardtails.
No, because we have so many routes.
Up there on that flow stuff, the machine stuff, dude.
Yeah, because they're so much more efficient climbing. They can get it's so better.
It's great. You just slap a nice dropper post, but you're riding up something and you're driving, like that energy of space.
Yeah, so
makes a difference.
I think, community wise, that's been our goal since day one.
Oh,
like
for sure.
some people ask me like, what's the podcast about? I'm like, it's about growing people.
Right.
Like not just growing our brand or growing something. We're just growing people and like showing them that there's something bigger and better than what they've always the norm of what it is.
Oh, for sure.
Like around here, people get caught up in, we can't do that. This is Mobile. Like, no, we can.
Right.
You just have to quit being a baby about it or like try it. Or like, that's the other thing. Like so many people get caught up like, we can't do that. Like, yeah, we can.
Well, the bigger thing to me is like we've said a lot is the thing I loved using that as a reference point and comparing to here is they're their own thing.
All right.
They have it and they know what it is.
And now
right?
everybody compares themselves to them.
Right. But we have our own thing.
Right.
Like, again, if we were the best community, if we had the best mountain bike community that we could possibly be, that doesn't necessarily, community doesn't mean shit about a roller or a drop or
Right.
those are all great features, right? But if our community stood out that way, which I think it's getting there.
No, I think it is.
I mean, there's a bunch of, there's people down here that I consider like true. I mean, I was going through a tough time.
Right.
I'll get verklempt about it, but like I was in a bad way. You checked on me. Todd Golf checked on me. These are dudes that I like ride with. I don't expect you to do that. If it means something to me, like it means something to me. So to have that be part of your community, be like, hey man, you good? I know things are kind of tough. I know you're going through. Like that's a big deal. That's real community.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey man, I bought one of your shirts.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I get tired of like people thinking that we can't have a cool mountain bike community because we don't have features.
Right.
Like features don't make the community.
No.
And I've realized this more and more, like people would rather hang out in the parking lot than ride half the time.
Right.
Like, well, we rode 3 miles. Let's go hang out.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we have a very social community for sure.
but I think that's cool. And I think
it's
that's
awesome.
That's all. It's awesome to see it grow. It's awesome to see the different people that come and go. And I reach back out to a bunch of guys that I haven't seen for a while. Just checking on them,
Yep.
just because maybe it just takes that one. Mountain biking is exercise.
Yeah.
Right. And exercise is always going to take a lifestyle change to be a part of your life, whether it's
Right.
this or that. Like, so you have to, and the people that were mountain biking, they've already made that decision once that it was part of their life. If they've disappeared, like I'd like to get them back. Like, where'd you go? Why?
Yeah.
Let me know if I can help you get back, whether it's emotionally or you need a bike part or whatever it is. So if you're listening and you haven't been riding for whatever reason, let us know what we can do. I'll come pick your ass up.
Yeah.
I got room on my bike rack.
Look, I think we need to make sure everyone knows that going out of town, I have yet to be on an out of town ride with this group of the Mobile community that turned into a drop cast.
Right.
It's not happening.
No, it's not.
We just don't do it. Like we end up going out and everyone ends up riding together. And even when something goes wrong, we rally on that. Like it's more a matter of, in fact, I'd argue that getting group rides together to go places does better for the community than always here. Here, your comfort, you can just turn around and go right home. Out there, you got to lean on that person next to you, right? I tell the story all the time of even Blakely is enough of a distance for me. That's 45 minutes from my house. I tell the story about Carrie where she just like, me and Bug just had a shit day, bad luck. I'm breaking chains. Bug's puking everywhere because he's on over. And then Carrie's literally right there with like her mama bag of snacks and linkage and just fixing but you have to have that in order to make things work. And I think that stuff's like crucial for it.
Yeah, at Bogue Chitto, like I was dying like I did at Auburn when we went to Chulacqua. Like heat was so bad. David Wilson pulls out a cold towel out of the cooler and puts it on my neck. And I was like, oh my God.
Right.
Like it was like, you just saved my life, I think. You know, so it's just that where what we all have is everyone's. And it's when you're in a group and you don't have to be in the group with the jokes and you don't have to hang out and drink beer with us, but you can be part of us. Like
Imagine though that you paint the picture, you take that group and you show up in somebody else's territory and people are like, those dudes or those people are the most fun. I want to ride with them.
Oh dude, it already happens.
Right. But that's how you do it. Like it happened to you guys at Bogue Chitto, right?
Yeah. Everywhere.
Not the owner, but Toby and those other guys. But point is like that's how you do it. If you
Right.
show up and we're known as the best, maybe not the world's best riders,
No.
but God bless, they are fun as hell to hang out with.
Yeah, you
that's
show
what
up
you
and
want.
Put a flag up on your Kuat rack.
Right.
Everybody's like, wait a minute.
Right.
Who's that?
Right.
So that's all we have to do. I mean,
Right.
and it's been fun and it's always going to keep being fun, but anybody else that wants to help and has ideas,
Right.
let us know. Like,
Yeah.
we'll do whatever. Like, we don't always have the time, energy, or, to sit down and be like, hey, this is what we need to do. Like, whether, not just trail work, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like anything, if you have an idea and you want it to be something that would make our community better, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll do our best to try to make it happen.
We're also working on getting the Reb to be a little bit more open. So that's a slow grow process, but it may not be public, but we're at a spot where I think we might be able to open up the doors and let a few more people in. Cause there's some people that have joined, which is great. Glad to have them, legacy members, but they're not out there as much. And I want to see that place ridden.
Right.
I think the more it's ridden, the more fun it is, but we're getting there. It's a
And
slow growth.
Hopefully the fall is better. The summer's been murderous on everybody's energy.
It's totally nasty. The last thing I was going to mention as a segue, we have some cool hand up stuff to give away still, don't we?
Yeah, we have a whole box of it.
We're going to give away some hand up stuff in honor of the fact that I went to the Hand Up HQ.
Yeah,
They have a store inside of it that also has a bar, and their community is they meet there on Wednesday nights and they drink a beer, go ride their bikes, come back. They don't even go to trails hardly. If they do, there's apparently a lot of secret trails, just like what we have. They go and ride their secret trails and do that. So in honor of that, we're going to give away a hand up prize pack. I would jump on this if I were you, because there's some pretty solid stuff in there. The other thing is, I didn't realize this. Some of those designs they have and stuff, once they're gone, they never come back.
Yeah, they do them
They're one-offs.
one
Like
runs.
Montucky, that's it.
one runs.
And then, I'm not giving these away. These are for Dale, but I found Dale summer gloves that are his beer gloves. So
That's
now
right.
he can finally have gloves that fit, because yours are too small, aren't they? Aren't they?
No, they ripped.
Oh, they ripped.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Oh well.
So anyway, we have
I
some
ride
new ones.
hard.
Yeah, that's fine.
I drink. I was probably ripped them when I was drinking.
Probably
actually.
yeah. So we're gonna give those away. I don't know exactly what the contest will be. Do you have an idea for that?
No, I'm thinking just keep an eye on our social media.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll put it out through that.
So pay attention on that. This drops when this drops, that'll drop, and then that gives us time to organize it, and then win the prize packet. I promise to you, it'll be super solid. Should you want to go into that pipeline?
That's right.
Is there anything else we need to cover?
No, I think this was tame. We didn't get too.
We were mellow.
We were mellow.
I'm a
And
little.
I'm drinking.
Yeah, but I'm tired. I rode every
I
day.
know.
Okay, well that'll do it. We're gonna sort things out from there.
I'm gonna go ride
Yeah,
my
he's
bike.
he's gonna go ride his bike now. And the one thing about this podcast, when I listen to it sometimes to check it, because I listen before it drops air,
Uh-huh.
I listen to it and then it makes me want to go ride my bike.
That's right. It does. Usually it's like, damn, we got to go get more content.
I
Let's
know,
go.
I know. Find something.
That's right.
You can follow us on all the social channels with @RideTheRebellion. YouTube, you're going to need to go in there and type in Ride the Rebellion. You will find us that way, along with some other Star Wars stuff, because apparently Rebellion and Star Wars, hey, it works out well. If you go to the YouTube channel, you will see a series of videos that I posted. I basically every day posted some piece of content from the rides. Like we said, the Coldwater ride is there. The Lula Lake stuff is there. I try to do my best to capture as much of that. And then I'll have the special video coming out, which is a dirt coaster kind of shout out for their help. And I'll post that video up later this week or whenever it comes out. So that's about it.
Leave us a voicemail.
Oh, yeah. You can leave us a voicemail and click on that side. And again, we're also looking for more people to come on.
Yeah,
So
no
we've
one's
got
reached
we've
out.
got a list. Don't worry. It's not like you're going to be lack of content. There's a list of people, but we thought it would be more fun to bring in some inside baseball. So if you'd like to be on the show, shoot us an email at ridetherebellion@gmail.com.
Right.
And we can start that process, or just hit us up on the social channels.
And we can make it happen. Happen.
Yeah, we have an office.
And what happens.
It happens. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks for listening.
We love you all. Peace.
All right.